So our infertility journey has been going on for many years now. There's been a lot of ups and downs, but to give you a little bit background, around 2013, 2014, like many other couples, we decided that we were ready to have a family. And we tried on our own and it wasn't working. And after a good year, we got to see the OBGYN because you know the standard, you have to wait a year. And we quickly found out that I had PCOS and I was put on Clomid, but we still had never even tested my husband. So when 5 rounds of Clomid didn't work and we were at wit's end, we went to a fertility clinic, the Reach Clinic in Charlotte, North Carolina. There they confirmed my PCOS diagnosis, but also that Kyle had sperm issues and that because we each had issues, IVF was going to be our only option. So we were excited to finally have a plan and an answer to why we weren't getting pregnant. And we went ahead and did IVF and we had our son Brexton the first try, first round, and we were over the moon. It was also at this time, right when he was born, that we decided to start the Bundle of Joy Fund. And what that is we help by giving financial grants to couples through the Reach Clinic who need to go through IVF. We understand how expensive the process is, how frustrating it is that most insurances don't cover it, and so we're trying to do our small part to help a number of couples. And we're very excited that to date, we have 28 babies born and many more on the way this year. Once Brexton was potty trained, we decided that we would love to have a sibling for him, and we started trying for our daughter. So we went back to Reach and did our second frozen embryo transfer, got pregnant, was very excited, and then at 6 weeks we lost her. That was a very rough and hard time. If you'd like to hear more about it or reach out to me, I can connect with you on that because it was really the power and the sense of community with the infertility community, with strangers that reached out to me, that really helped me to get through all of that. And then we went on to try again a year later, and our third frozen embryo transfer attempt was just a failed cycle. I never even got pregnant. So with that, the doctor said because I had gone from being pregnant to miscarriage to not even getting pregnant, with the one embryo we have left, they suggested a surrogate. So now we're on the path to find a surrogate. You have to be your own advocate. Sometimes we're really lucky to get amazing doctors or nurses or midwives who will sit with us for hours, simply a number, and we have 10 minutes and we're in and we're out. And so that's really difficult. And so nowadays there's a lot of at-home testing that you can do to have concrete evidence to bring to your doctor. So for anybody out there who's getting ready to start trying, I think it's really a great idea to know if something's wrong before you even start. Because had Kyle and I have known that, we wouldn't have, essentially wasted 16 months just guessing at why we weren't getting pregnant. Another important thing that I've learned throughout this process is communication, not just with your doctor or your spouse, but with your friends and other people. Dealing with infertility, it's really emotional, and I think a lot of times as women, we want to keep that in and on the outside just keep showing everybody that everything's okay, and that's really hard. And so you have to, choose and what you feel comfortable sharing with other people, but being honest with them about where you're at and what you can and cannot give to relationships at that time, because I think when you're honest with people, it really helps to kind of take away some of that guessing game. Your friend might have gotten pregnant right away and it's hard for you, and you need a little bit of time to deal with those emotions, and you're happy for her, but you're also sad for yourself and jealous, and it's really complicated emotions. But telling your friend that instead of just not answering their calls or their texts really makes things a lot easier in the long run. When I went through a miscarriage, I felt like nobody in the world understood me. And when I started publicly talking about it, there were so many women, complete strangers, who reached out to me. And it was by connecting with them via, Instagram messages or emails that I was able to vent and have other people validate my emotions and just walk on this really difficult path with me because they've been there. And so I really think that went, such a big way for me to be able to heal and to be able to just really process what was happening. And I just cannot say thank you enough to the women that have reached out to me all throughout this journey and that have been a support system for me. in the very beginning of all this is we realized that a lot of people were always going to say, well, when are you having a baby? How come you guys don't have kids? And it really caught me off guard, and it would either be awkward, or I'd be frustrated, or I would lie and then be sad. And so we sat down one evening and we decided to come up with a blanket statement that we felt comfortable telling maybe the general public or people we weren't close to versus people that we were gonna, tell more to. But just being on the same page with your husband and coming up with something that you both feel good sharing to other people really helps alleviate some of those awkward or tense situations. I think a lot of times when women go through this journey, it's very easy to feel isolated or alone, or like you're the only person going through it. And I really urge you to look at Resolve's website. There's a number of online support groups, or search for a therapist that specializes in infertility or miscarriages or anything else that you're experiencing, because your emotions are real. Your trauma, your grief, everything that you're feeling and going through is real, and it's easy for people who haven't been through it to write it off. So for example, when I went through a miscarriage, I had a lot of people say to me, well, she was only 6 weeks, you weren't that far along, or well, at least you hadn't met her, or well, at least you can try again. And I really felt like they were just diminishing how big of a traumatic experience this was for me, and it made it so much harder. And so it really took finding support systems and therapists that understood and could help me validate and work through these emotions to start making progress forward.